Hi, it's Jackleen. Happy almost new moon. We have a new moon coming up on Thursday, the 27th of February, and I want to talk a little bit about that and why I'm going to call it a port in the storm new moon. So let's start with that. We have this new moon. It is a Pisces new moon at about, what is it? Let's just say 10 degrees Pisces. And it's a really harmonious, lovely, nice new moon, which is in contrast to the recent full moon that we had on February 12th. I don't know how you felt it, but I felt that pretty hard because it was a Leo full moon and everybody in my house is fixed signs except for me. I have a Scorpio rising, and so that got into it a little bit, but pretty much I was sort of the peacemaker in that full moon. And then we've got this nice little port in the storm, island in the storm, whatever you want to call it, calm before the storm, because we are going to have, after this new moon, 2 weeks after this new moon, we are going to have a lunar eclipse. So a very strong full moon. And we'll talk a little bit about that, but I want to focus on this Pisces new moon and how it can be a really fabulous one, but we have to do a little prep work. And so let's talk about that. You will be able to relax and get some needed downtime and rest and relaxation and chill out and do some things that you want to do, but you're going to have to schedule that. You're going to have to be proactive, put that on your calendar, because this is one of those grabby hands sort of times where you might feel, it depends on where your planets are, but you will probably feel a lot of things pulling at you from different directions. Pisces is one of those signs of the bright, shiny object, or, think of the fish in the water and they see these things floating around. Is that a worm, or is that a fish hook, right? So you will have a little bit of that. Some of what is going on in this time, I'm not going to say that the political or the news related situation is going to calm down much, but you can be very selectively attentive to that, because some of the things will never happen. Some of the things you don't need to get keyed up about, whatever it may be, right? You want to get a little bit of education around the media and maybe take those, I would definitely suggest take those little media breaks, because the news is going to keep doing what it's been doing. And it's actually going to start to, as we move toward this eclipse cycle, we're going to have first the lunar eclipse and then the solar eclipse. As we move toward this eclipse cycle, it's going to ramp up a little bit more. And there's going to be some crazy stuff on deck once again, and, possibly crazy stuff actually happening. That some of it we can just tune out. Some of it is not going to stick, or it's not going to go the full distance. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I might say a little bit more about that as I go. But I want to get too wrapped up in what's coming down the pike, because I do want you to get some rest and relaxation, some meditation, some kind of slower vibe energy, do some yoga. Pisces is the sign of yoga and meditation and spirituality, but also creativity. I want you to do some of that stuff. Every planet is pretty well aspected in, again, it's February 27th, Thursday, in this new moon chart. This new moon happens at 4:45 p.m. Pacific. So everything's good. Everything looks really good. And the only squares in the chart, which is the only difficult aspects at all in the chart of this new moon, is with Jupiter. And Jupiter's the big Santa Claus. And so no problem, right? Any aspect with Jupiter, for the most part, unless we're talking about addictions or compulsions or too much of anything, right? Anyone that has a propensity or taste for too much of anything might just get that and, suffer the consequences of that when there's some Jupiter aspects and these Jupiter aspects are to the Sun Moon conjunction. So back to my preliminary lecture about what a full moon is versus what a new moon. You probably know this, but the new moon, the sun and moon are cozied up. They're in agreement. The head and heart is in agreement. It's a great time to have a party if you feel so inclined. This is kind of an outgoing one, the way at least I see it here in the Pacific time zone. It looks like there's going to be quite a bit of social activity and like-minded social activity with people that enjoy the same things that you do. It's not necessarily the work party that you're forced to go to, although it probably wouldn't hurt to make a little cameo and then go, you know, but really do plan your relaxation. Plan the things that you want to do during this time, and plan the down times where you're not doing anything at all, or you're doing meditation or other kind of spiritual or relaxing activities. So we've got that Jupiter squaring the sun and moon, but again, that's good news. And sometimes when there's a square, which is generally a difficult aspect, the good that comes to you may come in an inconvenient or irritating way. So just don't rush to judgment on anything. That's what I always say when Jupiter's in uh, a challenging aspect, because it may turn out that the person that you ran into and maybe dropped all your things and they dropped all their things is someone that you need to meet, or whatever. You know, the line that you had to wait in, you get talking to someone and they know of a job exactly where you want to apply for a job. That kind of stuff can happen. So don't get too exasperated about the little things. One thing I want to mention that happened recently within the last couple of weeks is we have 3 planets that just went direct. Uranus, that happened toward the end of January, and more in the second week of the first week of February, we had Jupiter go direct. We love it when Jupiter goes direct, because what was hidden or kind of shelved, or the thing that just you couldn't make happen, now maybe there's a pathway to it. So we like it when Jupiter goes direct, because that's basically the brakes are off on Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of luck, expansion, it's travel, it's teaching, it's pretty much all good things. And then we had Mars recently, as recently as a few days ago, go direct. And so that is like saying, oh, I have power. Oh, I forgot I had power. And that may be the case with whatever you're doing as an activist in the world for whatever you want to achieve, what you want the world to be like, basically the change you want to see in the world. So realizing that you have the power, standing in your power, asserting your boundaries, these are all things that, if you know anyone who's a Pisces, and I include Sun, Moon, Pisces affiliate, Sun, Moon, rising, or lots of planets in Pisces, boundaries are sometimes an issue. And sometimes you got to swing all the way this way before you go all the way back that way, until you find the middle. But being in your boundaries, being in your power, very, very favored right now. And looking at your luck, counting your blessings, really writing down what your gratitude is. That is all really favored right now as we go into this really nice new moon. And we've got sextiles between all the planets here, and a nice trine between Mars and Saturn. We can get a lot done if we set our minds to it and we intersperse our mental and physical activities. So basically, do a little meditation, then do 20 minutes of work, then do like a little mini meditation, or something that you want to do. Play a little game on your phone or something. And then go right back to work. But don't work for too long at a stretch without getting up and turning around, because again, Pisces is one of those signs where our attention can really wander, and we can always get taken off of task by what other people suggest to us, bright, shiny objects. So be on the lookout for the bright, shiny objects, the things that are trying to get your attention. Know what your focus is every day, your top 3 activities top 3 priorities that you want to get done, and focus on that. But new moon is all about creating new things, putting things out into the world, whereas, the waning energy from the full moon to the new moon right now, before we get to February 27th, get your completions in order. Doesn't mean you have to complete them all, but have your completions already started. I know that sounds weird, but if you have a goal like I often have to clean the office, get that started. Make some headway in that before, if you're watching this before February 27th at 4:45 p.m. Get that started. Any kind of completions, anything from last year. It's not that you won't have another opportunity if you haven't finished your taxes, but start on finishing it. Let's put it that way. So once the moon is new, you can start new things. It's just more favored to start new things and do new things, and business ventures, launching things, all that is very favored. We have Neptune and the North Node in conjunction. We've been talking about this for a little while, and this having to do with what's your true purpose in this lifetime. Take some steps toward that, even if it doesn't sound practical. Take some practical steps toward that which doesn't seem practical, and you will be surprised at how practical it might become. I know that sounds weird, but I'll repeat that. Take the steps toward the dream, the bigger purpose, the bigger why, and do it in a methodical and practical, disciplined, routine way, and you'll see things begin to come together. Okay, another thing I wanted to mention was a little conjunction here between Saturn and Mercury. And that is often, Mercury is the way we communicate. Saturn is when to hold back, when to be quiet. Sometimes we are almost having sold the thing that we're trying to sell, but we keep talking and we kind of ruin that, right? Or we do too much, or we say too much. Just, I would say, with those two so close together, a little bit of restraint in the communications department. Do I really need to send that angry email? Can I wait a little bit? Can I wait a little bit before I say, do, communicate, whatever, buy, especially? Make what I call a Capricorn purchase, which is also, Capricorn is the sign that's ruled by Saturn. If I really want something, it's a big expenditure, or it might be a little bit of an impulse buy, I will say, okay, my Capricorn purchases, I'll go back tomorrow, come back to it, leave it in the shopping cart. And if I truly want it, I will do that. Okay. So it's just a time anyway to think about, well, do I really need that? Is that really going to enhance what I'm here to do in this lifetime? Is that part of my purpose? So everything should be going through that filter. Everything should be thought of as kind of an investment here. And sometimes just having happiness, having joy, having that coffee, whatever it is an investment. I totally agree with you. So definitely invest in your happiness and well-being, but make sure it's what you're spending, what you're putting out there is of value. So that's one of the things that I would say about this new moon. But I do like things sort of coming back online and people kind of waking up in a way and saying, okay, no, that's not good. I'm going to do this. So you may be saying that at work. You may be saying that with what's happening in the political world. You may be saying that at home with your family. Doesn't matter, any activities that you're involved with. What are you truly feeling about that? That Pisces is one of the signs of feelings. It is also the sign of unconditional love. And on the other side of the coin, it's the sign of illusion. So what illusions do I have? What illusions need to be busted up right now? That's going to stand you in really good stead for when this lunar eclipse comes up on the 14th of March. So I'll talk a little bit about that because we're heading toward it. That's also the day I believe that Mercury goes retrograde. And so, it's kind of like what I want to say more than anything else right now, make hay while the sun shines. That's what our new moon is saying to us. Make hay while the sun shines. Do those things that you really want to do. Do them in a practical, methodical, kind of using timers, that kind of thing, manner, right? And also intersperse the mental and physical, the spiritual. Just be in enjoyment, be in gratitude. It's just a nice time. It is a little island in the storm because one of these eclipses, I'm just going to tell you, is going to have a little bit of your name on it. And because every eclipse cycle I've been through has brought me a lesson. We all are going to have our eclipse lessons. And that's when I do a reading for someone, I say, okay, here's the house in which the eclipse occurs for you. Here's the planets it aspects. Here's what I believe your lesson can be. Let's get to work on that. So it's a good time to, if you know how to look at your chart to see those things, or you can come to me. I know how to tell you, hey, this is what's up. This is what we can prepare for so we don't get hit as hard by those external events, those things that have come to teach us what they've come to teach us during the eclipse. But I want you to really enjoy this next couple of weeks because I do think it's going to be a good couple of weeks. Is everything in the world going to be perfect? Hell no, it's not. It's probably going to be a little nutty, but do we have to pay attention to all of it? No, we don't. Do we have to get keyed up about all of it? No. If you do get keyed up, maybe that is a sign, hey, I want to do something about this. Again, remember, your power is coming back online. Mars, that was retrograde for a while, coming back online. Jupiter, your goodness, the goodness and the good karma that you put out into the world, coming back to you. It may feel like it was a little delayed because that's what happens when Jupiter is retrograde, but all kind of good stuff happening. Yeah, is there anything else I want to say about this? Uranus and Saturn actually working together, the outer planets working nicely together. If you want to do something kind of big in the world, if you want to make your own app or set up a website or YouTube channel, whatever, those kind of things really favored right now. Promoting yourself, what you do, particularly if it's something that's really close to your heart. Or a cause that's important to you. All that kind of stuff is really favored. Getting out of your comfort zone, yeah, do that. Go swimming, do all these kind of Piscean stuff, do yoga, do art, do creativity, whatever it is that kind of floats your boat, do that. And when the sun and the moon are in Pisces, you can have that relationship talk. It's a good time. Things are generally in harmony. Find a good way to say it, but I would say do the thing that kind of scares you a little bit sooner than later because it's a really friendly time to this kind of action. Anything else I need to say about it? I don't think so. I think I just want you to chill, schedule some time to chill and take care of yourself. And we'll talk more about this crazy eclipse cycle that's coming up and how to. Oh, yeah, I'm going to tell you that the economy is going to do a little dip. I'm just going to tell you that. You probably already know that. I can feel that in my business like months before it happens. And definitely is starting to feel at the beginning of February. So whatever adjustments you need to take to make, with your own finances, that would be a good time to do that. Don't get into fear or anything like that. I would definitely still think in terms of investments. I would think of, where do I want to put my money? Where do I want to, where do I want to get more organized? That's another thing that if we get to this lunar eclipse in Virgo, which really wants to be organized, and you have that organization and that clearing, all the better. So that's a way that almost anyone can prepare for what's coming up with these next two, this next cycle or this eclipse cycle that follows the new moon. So happy new moon, and you take care.